Abuja. We'd like to tell our viewers that we reached out to relevant senior government officials who are supposed to be interfacing with ASUU, these university lecturers. We've spoken to them to be on the program. We're hoping that they will honor the invitation so that we can get exactly clarity on what the government is doing. But let's speak with the president of the Association of University Union, that's Professor Emmanuel Oshodake, who joins us virtually. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us tonight. It's interesting because here on this program, we followed the event that led to the last strike and how it all was resolved momentarily, albeit promises made about the demands that you were seeking for. But how did things get bad again? We thought that things have picked up and your conversation with the federal government was on a good start and things were resolved. You left it off where the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, said that on the 30th of October, for example, the revitalization fund was going to be disbursed. So what happened?
Thank you very much. Like you rightly said, these promises have been on since January, and we gave them all the opportunity. But in October, they promised us that by the end of October, all these issues would have been resolved. That the 30 billion naira would have been paid to the universities, the end academic allowance would have been paid to the universities that need that. We're supposed to review, test our solution, which is UTAS, University Transparency and Accountability Solution, which we have produced free for the government, would have made their report available and discussed, and the process of applying it to the university would have begun. And they will address the issue of shortages, improper payment of salary by APIS, and all sorts of things going on in APIS would have been resolved. This was some of the issues that the issue of our innovation, which we have finished in May. The government will set up a small committee to review it and revert back to all this before the end of the year. None of this have been implemented. And it's very sad. Those who were at the meeting in October had how excited the minister was, Minister of Labour, when we were reading out this issue that definitely all the issue would have been resolved. But today, we're in the middle of November, 5th of November, and these issues have not been resolved. That is the crisis that the system, the government, is pushing on to the wall again, and we have no option but to see other ways of getting this issue resolved.
Your predecessor in office, right here in this studio, when we had a conversation, things got heated and there were interventions. The Ministry of Labour, the Ministry of Education, we had the Minister of Labour right here on this program with promises made. But let me ask you, when was the last time you interfaced with the Minister of Labour or a Minister of Education or any government official to remind them of their promises?
I think on the 21st of October, around that day, I'm not so sure of the date, but it was in October, middle of October, that we met the Minister of Labour, called all of us, and all the parastatals, people from the Minister of Finance, Budget Office, people from the Minister of Education, National Universities Commission, NIPDA, and all these were involved in the meeting we had to resolve this issue. And with all the unions to be present, we were so sure, and they promised us with timeline that all the issue will be resolved. But today, none have been resolved. And they have not even got back to us to say this is the reason why we are not resolved them, which is what normal thing to do in labor negotiation. If you have an issue, you should let the people you negotiate with, you should let them know. But we don't believe there's any issue. Because if you say they showed evidence of a bad statement from Central Bank, so that 30 billion was actually there and it's not disbursed, there's something wrong somewhere.
I mean, one of the allegations by your predecessor and the last ASUU leadership was that government was insincere. Has anything changed from that standpoint?
Well, if you promise a labor union like ASUU, first that at the end of August, you would have solved all these problems, and you didn't do any, and ASUU also have patience. September ended, you called the same labor again in October, and promised that by the end of October, all these issues would have been resolved. And then we are in November 15th, and none of them have been resolved. And the country, thank God, that meeting we had, the press were there. They were there. And they were told that this thing will be resolved at the minister. But today, none have been resolved.
Let's take some of these issues. So I wanted to ask you, is it a matter of technical problem or insincerity? Because those are the allegations that are made. The government was trying to clarify that there were technical issues and they were going to resolve them. There are issues of the demands they made on your association, things that you were supposed to do that you needed to get back from them. They formed a committee to look into it and all of that. But ASUU at the time said it was simply insincerity of government. Does that stance still remain, or things are different, or you think that is some technical issues of bureaucracy of government that is delaying some of the actions of government?
Well, thank you very much. This issue is between the Nigerian public. It's between the Nigerian public now. We have followed all this. We have been patient as usual, but be very patient. I've never had been patient. We have some who have not got salary for 24 months, 12 months, but they are patient. There are people who have been paid all sorts of form of salary, but we have been patient. And we are here again. I think we want to appeal to the government and to Nigerian people that if anything happens, whatever is the outcome of this insincerity or the lack of way to implement agreement with the union, the government should be held responsible, not the union. Because the union have been very patient, have been very considerate, but there had to be a change.
One of the issues raised by ASUU is that some of your members are being owed salaries, several months of salary backlogged. Has that changed? Has anything changed? Have they been paid? Is anyone being owed at the moment as we speak?
Please, can you come again? Please come again, sorry.
I said the last time we had this conversation, the former ASUU president told us that several of their members in different universities are being owed several months of unpaid salaries. Does that still persist, or things have changed? Have those salaries been paid?
Does that still persist, or things have changed? Things have not changed. Although a number of them have paid, but quite a number of our members are still unpaid as I speak to you. So we paid for 4 or 5 months, and then they will stop again, and then after some time they will start. All sorts of things going on. In some branches, our members are paid completely unknown salary. You heard recently when a vice chancellor said that when the children did so-called IPs, that the first month he was paid the salary of a graduate assistant, which is the lowest salary scale in Nigeria in the academic salary structure. That problem is still there. When this IP started, we told the government that the IPs cannot address the problem in the university because the university salary is different from all others. The university structure is different, but they forced that thing on the system. And today, I can assure you, no foreign lecturer will want to come and teach in Nigeria. Why our members are going outside of other country to teach? No foreign lecturer will want to come here for adjunct because it won't be paid. And the university is universal. You should have lecturers from all over the world teaching our children, teaching our students. But today, they have all left. And I can assure you, the best brain are also leaving because we are gradually destroying the Nigerian university system for whatever reason. And the reason is very clear. Those who are in charge of this issue don't have their children in the Nigerian university system. They're outside. If their children were in the university system, they will not allow what is happening today to happen in our university. And therefore, all of us, all Nigerians, we must come with this. We must insist and tell our leaders that if they want to lead us well, let them bring all their family members and children back to our university and see if they will treat the university the way they are treating it today. That is the problem. If their children are here, they will not allow that. You not see them once in a while hanging around with their children, graduating in university in UK, in America, and what have you. why our university are being gradually destroyed. It was not how it was in the 60s and 70s and early 80s.
I'd like to ask you, because you were, the last time, remind us, how many months of you were on strike, your members were on strike? I guess it was in the list of 5 or so months or 4 months that your members were on strike, isn't it?
Yes, you're right. More than 5 months.
I mean, so the fear is this distortion, how it is impacting on our education system. And the ASUU strike and the incessant break in the academic calendar, how does this impact on our education system in Nigeria? Are you worried about this?
You see, for me, what should be worrying Nigerians is not the issue of strike. What is the quality of material, teaching materials that you have in the Nigerian university system? That's what should be worrying us. What is the quality of people we are producing from this system? That should be what is worrying us. As I can tell you today, when we did the assessment program in 2012, we went to a first generation university and they were using stove as a Bunsen burner. Listen, if you watch out, in the 70s, 80s, and 60s, and early 90s, were you hearing of building collapse in Nigeria? Today, is there any week you don't have a building collapse? Don't you ask yourself what is responsible? What would Nigerians be talking about is the quality of people we are training in our university. Is the quality of lecturers you have in the university, the quality of laboratory equipment you have in the university, the quality of environment where lecturers will have a point to teach, and ensure that those who are coming out from the system are not garbage in and garbage out. That is what we worry in Nigeria, not the one that's long the children stay. And that's what I'm saying. That when you go to other university in the world, go to other country, they devote a high percentage of their annual project to education. But today, what do you have?
I mean, it's also being considerate in some of these issues, because when you take to strike, if you balance this conversation, is also being considerate in your approach to things?
You see, what we are doing today is fighting for the future of Nigeria. What we are doing today is to show that Nigerian graduates compete well with graduates from other countries. When I was a student in a state university, Rivers State University of Science and Technology then, in my department, and you can go and investigate, there were lecturers from 5 different countries: Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and 3 other countries. Today, there is no university in Nigeria you have up to 1% of the lecturers being from outside the country. And that's what a university is. If you go to our neighbor here, Benin and Ghana, you see people all over the world teaching. So what we're talking about, we should not look at strike as the problem. We should look at the system as the problem. Strike is just it's a symptom of the problem you have. I can assure you, any day the university start working, ASUU will never go on strike. But the university will have to make them work. And one way of doing that is tell the political leaders who are killing the university to bring their children back home.
So one we wonder that most of these strike are basically seeking the interest of the lecturers, isn't it?
That is completely wrong. Look at the issue we listed there. You have the issue. Let me list them for you. The first one is need as revitalization fund to revitalize the Nigerian university system, to ensure that you have enough equipment, you have enough lecturers from all over the world to teach in our university. Number 2 is that there is a need to amend the law of creation of universities, so that before you start a university, you should have all that you need that is required to fund that university adequately. It's one of them. We have done the law in the National Assembly. Those are all national issues. Our renegotiation, when you look at it, there are 4 major headline in the negotiation. It's only one that is devoted to the welfare of staff. So we're not talking on NISDA, which is our UTAS. Today, the IPs we are using today is a foreign program that we are paying for on daily basis, on yearly basis. The government is paying for that program on yearly basis using our scarce resources. But we have produced the one that will solve all the problems, not just in university, that will solve all the problems for salary payments around the country. These are patriotic things we're talking about. We're talking about research funds.
So, but as
research is not about the
Prof,
system.
as the government accepted that platform in which you
you
presented to them as alternative to IPs.
Yes. We have produced that. They challenge us that we should produce. And it took us less than 4 months to produce that UTA. We call it University Transparency and Accountability Solution, which we have done. And they insisted that we haven't done it, it must be tested by NISDA. And we said, okay, first, we presented that program to the office of the Senate President, and nobody faulted it. We presented the program to the office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and nobody faulted it. We presented it to the office of the Vice Chancellors and Bursar and Registrar, and no fault. And they finally said we should present to end users, which is staff from the Bursar unit and Registrar of the university, and we did. And the last time we met, they said it passed through, there was no problem. And the question is, why are not releasing it a homegrown program that will cost this country not a kobo, that will ensure that all our data remain in Nigeria? Why are they delaying it? This is the question we need to ask the system. So it's not about
I'm looking at it again from the point of view of students and parents who've had their children for almost a year or more because of COVID were sitting at home doing nothing. Now, strike came in the year 2020. These children stayed at home yet again, and lecturers perhaps also were not working at the time. I remember that the government was threatening that it won't pay salaries if they do not work. So the question is that, is a strike the best option to make government see reasons, and is it in the national interest?
Thank you very much. You see, like I said, all my children, they are in Nigerian universities. So it's not about maybe other people's children. Let me tell you, we don't love strike. I have been in university for more than close to 30 years now. In the past 15 years, I've not gone on leave. Because when we come back from the strike, we'll have to cover all the backlog of what we have left behind. And you can check the system. The university where I lecture, Michael Okpa University of Mudike, we have not lost a year. So we go back and work for those years, those periods I should have used for my leave to work for the system. So we are patriotic, and you can check. So, but if you have reached an agreement with two groups reached an agreement and a memorandum of understanding in January, based on which the union called off a strike, and government said within 1 month we will solve all this problem. And today it is 11 months and they have not solved the problem. So what should you do? We want Nigeria to tell us what we should do next. If one, somebody has not been paid for 20 months. Two, the money to use to upgrade our facility have been reduced, have been withheld. Three, the agreement we have reached between their team is just kept in the cooler. So what do you suggest that as lecturers who are patriotic, who want Nigeria to move forward, what do you suggest that we do?
All right. Professor, we have just about 40 seconds to wrap up this conversation. And I'd like to, you spent several years in the Nigerian education system, and I'd like to ask you, in your own view, what do you think is the solution to this incessant strike or this situation of our low education system in Nigeria? How do you think we can solve a problem of education, the system as it is right now in Nigeria? Just about 30 or 40 seconds.
Thank you. Very simple. One, all the agreements you have with the union and the university, go and implement them. They are not difficult to implement. 2, devote the appropriate percentage of our budgetary system are recommended
who seems to have lost connection with Professor Victor Oshodeke, the president of the Association of University Union lecturers, who are threatened that they will commence a strike action should government fail to meet its obligation, some of the promises made to them. Well, I more sincerely thank Professor Oshodeke for talking to us tonight, and we hope that government in some way will react to these timely, of course, and meet these demands so that these children will not stay at home any longer. Let's take a break, everyone. And when we come back, our attention will be on the investment drive of the Buhari government. President Buhari is in South Africa. What is the mission there? $40 million US. Is that the focus of this government to get out of that conference that is happening in Durban? We get details of the mission there in South Africa after this break. Join us again, everyone.